Everybody? Next video here, going to be talking about some Microsoft, some Broadcom, AVGO, and some NVIDIA. Kind of just what the overall market outlook is looking like for us heading into next week, January 5th officially. No, 6th. January 6th. Speaking of next week, we do have a shorter week in the stock market, if you didn't know this. The 9th, I believe, is going to be closed for President Carter's funeral. So, stock market is closed. Keep that in mind, just if you're going to be swinging options or anything like that. So, let's get right to it here. One of my absolute favorite looking swings long term in 2025 and just charts in general right now is Microsoft. It is just looking like an absolute beauty. So let's just go over a few things here. First of all, you're going to see a lot of lines and things on this chart here. So I'll kind of try to break down what I see, what I'm looking at, and what I plan on doing based on what I see. So first of all, what you see here, this diamond pattern, is just a structure that forms sometimes in a different stock. The chart and the candles play out where this kind of diamond pattern forms. And I'm going to bring up why this is important in a little bit. So these lines here, they mark and represent trend lines, different trends and patterns that the stock is following. So for example, this line here is a support trend line where you can see these candles, they come down, they touch it, and they come back up, they touch it, it comes back up. So this line here acts as sort of a support for the price at the current level here. So anytime that these candles come down and then they bounce back up, and you can see that it bounces based on this wick pattern, so the skinny part of the candle here versus the fat part of the candle. Whenever they wick down like that, they bounce down and come back up. It's showing that there's a good support line there. So you can see there's another one over here. And usually we want to pay attention to the trend lines that are closer to the most recent price action, most recent candle of the stock. So we're going to come over here, and there's a couple of important trend lines that I'm looking at. This one here, which is acting as another support trend line. You can see these two candles bounce, the skinny part wicks down is what it's called, and holds as a good support here. Does it again, and then we had last week a very interesting candle forming here. So this candle here is referred to as a hammer candle oftentimes. It occurs at the bottom of a downtrend, and it's signified by a longer wick at the bottom with the fatter part of the candle up here, acting as a hammer. And what that means is it's going to knock the price up this way a lot of the time, what we see when those candles form. So you can see a very similar one if we come back here. Right here, the stock was moving in a downward trend, and then you see this candle, big wick with a small skinny part, and it knocks the price way up here. So that's kind of what these hammer candles do. So that's one important thing that I'm looking at here, is this nice hammer candle that bounced off of a support line here, and it bounced off of a support line here where price previously broke out, and then it's coming down to retest. And that's often a really, really good sign of what we want to see whenever we expect a stock to continue moving in an upward direction. We want to see these trend lines break out in an upward direction, come back down, find support, bullish support, and then they usually run back up. And these lines here that I've got marked, these yellow lines, these are some pretty big support levels on the weekly time frame. This 423 one being a pretty significant level. You can see all the way back in March of 2024 this year, or last year now. This 423 level really acted as a big resistance for a long time. Price tried to break out several times. It could just never get over it, never get over it. And then it finally did, and then it lost support when it came back down, tried to get over it, and it just couldn't hang. So again, acted as resistance here, and then it tried to break out, couldn't hold support. Well, it's been doing the same thing, and then it's finally looking like it's holding support on this weekly time frame. So this would be a great time to have a long position or a bullish position for Microsoft stock, in my opinion. And that's exactly what I plan on doing. That's what I started doing last week, got a nice position going. And if we see continuation where the candle into next week, if we see it continue going up this way, and especially if we see it reclaim these two lines here, which I'll talk about here in a second, but that's going to just be more confirmation for us that this stock is probably going to be moving upwards. So these two lines here that I was just talking about, the moving average of the stock, it tends to follow a average price, and it depends on how many days you want to set the average for. So this blue one is a 50-day average, and this one down here is going to be our should be the 3450. Well, where is it? Down here. There it is. There's the 34 and the 50, and then this is the 512. So those are just common moving averages that are used to kind of just gauge what a stock is going to be doing. Found support off of the 3450's EMA here, and then if we go look at the daily chart, we're underneath all of these EMAs, which isn't ideal, but the hammer candle that gave us on the weekly chart is just setting it up to just blast over these and continue forward. With me stock trading and investing the way I do, I prefer swing trading, using longer time frames to help me decide on what I want to do with a stock. Things can change day to day, but weekly and then even monthly, the more you zoom out and get a bigger picture, just helps give you a better idea of what a stock is doing and what direction it's going to go. So earlier at the very beginning of the video, by the way, if you've made it this far, hit the subscribe button. Really appreciate it. Just leave a like, a comment, subscribe to the channel. Would really appreciate it and show support that way. So yeah, let's get back to it. So this diamond pattern that I was talking about, the reason why it gets me really excited is, if we zoom out here a little bit, we can see that Microsoft is moving in an upward direction for a while, for the past couple of years, and it's finding a nice base and consolidation is what it's referred to, where the stock kind of chops up and down in a big range here. Usually when we see that, it's an indication that things might be getting ready for another big move up or down. Now, the reason I am excited is because typically when we see these diamond patterns form during an uptrend, it's a signal that things are about to go much higher. And this pattern in this chart looks so similar to another one that I'm about to show you. So I'm going to zoom out quite a bit here, so you can kind of just see the overall picture of this chart here. And then at the very top, you've got this nice diamond. So we're going to bring up Costco. And I'm going to zoom out more, and we're going to go over here. We're going to act like we were looking at the Microsoft chart. We were kind of at this mode here. And you can see like they look very similar, very similar. Upward trend, and then a big base consolidation, and a nice diamond pattern. And what did this diamond pattern do? Well, Costco, you can see, went nuts. It was trading in anywhere from the 400 to 575 range, just chopping up and down, up and down, up and down for weeks and weeks and weeks, months and months and months. And then when it finally broke out, it went nuts and doubled in price, basically. And something else that we want to look at whenever we're looking at these kind of things. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit on this diamond pattern. So this is Costco's diamond pattern. You can see this trend line, how it acted as a resistance. the price broke out, and then you can see this candle here and then this candle here retested this trend line, and it acted as a good support for it. Now, when we come back to Microsoft, what do we see? We see a trend line being broken and retested, just like Costco. Now, very good chance that this kind of rides this trend line up a little bit. We could even get another candle that wicks down to test this trend line. As long as it closes every week above this trend line here, we are sitting pretty. We're loving it. So I plan on looking at how things play out next week and adding more to my position for Microsoft to hold for a long-term swing with a price prediction of anywhere. I mean, if the same pattern plays out, we're looking at like 750 price for Microsoft, which is just nuts, way up here. So yeah, that's what I plan on doing with Microsoft over the next several weeks and months, just kind of keeping an eye on things. And if price ever dips down and we can get a retest of these trend lines and lower support levels, I'll probably be adding more to the long-term position. And the only thing that would make me ever close the position completely and stay out of it is on the weekly time frame. If these trend lines broke down majorly, and if we had a weekly candle close under the 50 EMA, then I might get a little bit more concerned. But for now, that is definitely our plan for what we're going to be doing. Where are we at? 11 minutes? Cool. All right, let's talk about Broadcom or AVGO. All right, so AVGO has been looking kind of nice lately. We had this kind of a weird looking cup and handle pattern, which is just another chart pattern that plays out just like the diamond that I was talking about, just like this pennant that I'll be talking about here in a second. There's all these different names for how charts and these candles form different patterns, and they help give us an idea of what the stock might do, where it might be headed. So AVGO had a nice cup and handle here. So there's the cup, you can see kind of swinging down, forming a rounded base there. And then the handle of the cup is just a smaller little handle here. And we can actually draw that. Where's the drawing tool? So we can, see the boom and then boom. So, whoa, not that part there. But you can see this cup and handle pattern. And usually these cup and handle patterns, you can predict the price by finding the lowest point, which is around 128, 129, up to the neckline or the most, the horizontal support or resistance line of the cup and handle, which is going to be around the 184 mark. So you take the difference, 129, 184 is going to be about 55. We add 55 to the top of our neckline here. So 184 plus 55 gives us 239-ish. No, I don't want this. Yes, sure. Don't do that. All right, well, we will redraw our lines here in a second. So, okay, now, go away line. Why does it keep doing this to me? I just want to click on it. I don't want to draw on it anymore. You're messing up my video. Okay, so daily chart here. I'm going to draw my pennant again. so you can see it. And these are just our support and trend lines, just like in the Costco and in the Microsoft charts. So on our weekly time frame here, you can see we've got this nice looking pennant, which is usually a bullish formation and pattern that is playing out. And then there's our former neckline that I was talking about with that cup and handle pattern. But the thing that I'm looking at more than anything is the pennant that is currently forming here. And this pattern is actually playing out quite similarly to another chart, which has gone parabolic and gone nuts lately. But first, before I show you that, right now, usually when we see a stock, the candles kind of forming this lower high and higher low pattern. So the candle, this lower high than up here, and then a higher low base. This is the low point here, and then it ended higher and then higher. So that's what it meant. What I mean by higher lows and lower highs. This coiling pattern again is going to result in a bigger move up or down. And whichever way that the pattern breaks is most of the time the direction that it'll continue. Now, looking at the weekly chart here, if it breaks to the upside, we take our flagpole of our pennant here, which is just this candle here, and to give us a target from 169 up to, let me come back out. So we've got our, we'll just say 160 up to 250. I mean, that's a 90-point break one way or the other. And if it's going to break up, we're going to see 230 go up to 310, 320, maybe even higher. So we're looking way up here as far as targets go for the full pattern continuation here. Now, the reason why I'm excited about this is multifold. One is the pattern that is forming here in the chart. If we go back a little bit to what Tesla did a while ago, you can see it had this base, this big base, gapped up, formed a pennant, did the same thing, coiled, and then it launched through the roof. And the price, this from the base of 212 to 360, essentially, what is that? 150 points. Did it raise 150 points from 350, almost 488? So you can see the power and potential of these formations here, these pennant formations. So see this base, gap, coil, just like Tesla did back here. Base, gap up, coiled, pennant launched. And that's exactly what I'm looking for with Broadcom. Now, this has got some fuel behind it, not only with a huge event coming up, the consumer technology, just huge event in Vegas, lots of tech companies and updates and just lots of cool stuff happening. Big one, though, is NVIDIA's CEO speaking tomorrow, but there's just going to be a lot of stuff coming out of this conference. Usually, when this kind of thing happens, we got a bullish and positive sign for tech stocks. And in our other video that we did, we pointed out how the Qs has a nice falling wedge forming here and a flag forming, which is a bullish pattern. And when the this Qs is a technology-based fund that has a lot of different technology stocks in it. and when that is forming a bullish pattern, it's usually nice for the individual tech stocks that are also forming bullish patterns. So we have a position in AVGO, and we plan on adding to it if we break to the upside, just like in Microsoft. We'd like to see a break and a retest for an ideal situation, but Tesla did not actually give us that retest. It just broke and went. So we actually we've started a position in Broadcom as it's been chopping around, and whenever we get closer to this trend line here, we're going to be buying more. When we get closer to breaking the trend line here, we'll probably be adding a little bit as well. So that is the plan for the next couple of weeks, especially as we head into next week and the week after with the technology event. Oh, and by the way, if you didn't know this, Nancy Pelosi has a bunch of call options for Broadcom, which is just another little piece of fuel to the fire. Evidence for that bullish pattern playing out how we want it to. So if you made it this far, I appreciate you so much. You are awesome. If you haven't hit that like or subscribe button, please go ahead and do that. I would love your support, and follow along as I continue to make these videos for you, and hopefully we can get rich together. Make a ton of money. So yeah, stay tuned. Turn on notifications after you hit that follow and subscribe button, and be on the lookout for upcoming videos.